there's 5 ways that real estate makes money. I think most people think about it in 2 or maybe 3 ways. So they recognize the cash flow. You might get a few percentages every year of cash flow. Appreciation. But I think people don't think about real appreciation on a leveraged standpoint and understanding how a leverage plays into that. And then finally, they think, okay, well, tax benefits. Usually, I can get my cash flow tax free because of depreciation. But to get into it, so inflation hedge, number one, if you lock in a low interest rate and now inflation is going up, you you the value of your debt goes down over time. And so, let's say I take out $100,000 mortgage today. Next year, that currency is worth 6% less, and so that actual value of that mortgage in year two is 90. What is that? I don't know, the 94,000 or something like that, or
You're
90.
the
So
CPA. Hey, you're the CPA on the call.
so just an example. So basically, what happens is at some point, and you can think about this with like a mortgage payment. If you got a house 30 years ago, or let's just say 20, so that you could still have a mortgage, and you were paying, it might seem like a ton of money to have $1,000 mortgage 20 years ago, but now $1,000 mortgage payment is really small, especially with interest rates where they're at. And so you actually get to offset the effects of inflation because of the debt you own. I could go a lot deeper here. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm happy to answer questions around that. Cash flow is the easy one. Cash flow, you got to think about that is in terms of the money you invested. So if you invested $20,000 into a deal and you're getting $5,000 a month, or sorry, $5,000 a year in cash flow, you're going to have a 25% rate of return on your cash flow. People think about the cap rate, and that's great, but it depends on the property, and if you're able to actually cash flow with less down, quite often that makes sense. Appreciation, so that's again a great example of appreciation. On average, I've seen different stats here and there, but on average I've seen between 4 and 6% average appreciation over hundreds of years with real estate. Some years it might be down, some years it's up. But if you put 20% into a deal and your property appreciates by 3%, I'm sorry, you put 20% down and the property appreciates 3%, your actually rate of return, or your actual appreciation on the amount you invested, is 15%, because it's 3 times 5. You have 20, it's 20% is 1/5. And so 3 times 5, it's 15%. So it doesn't seem sexy when something appreciates 3% a year, but really when you have a bit of leverage on there, all of a sudden it looks a lot better. Debt pay down. So you have tenants paying down your debt every single month. You're building equity without having to make that payment yourself. And then there's the tax benefits, which we talked about. Straight line, it's a little less. And if you're able to take advantage of some of these strategies, it can be huge. And so just to kind of show this, I just wanted to kind of tally up those rates of return that you might want to think about. On a $300,000 home, I put down, same amount of closing costs on each. If you put 5% down, like I did to buy my first house, for example, your rate of return can be huge because your principal pay down is, anyway, you just tally all this up. So that in line one it could be like 69% in year one, because you're only invested $21,000. Year two, or sorry, for 25% in, you might have a total return between all these of like 23%. And then if you own the whole thing in cash, if you take into account everything, you're still getting like an 11% return. So most people are thinking about that 7% cash flow, and that's, well, I guess that's really what you're getting: 7% cash flow, the appreciation, and then the tax benefit of the depreciation, which is kind of smaller as well.
Yeah.
So.